Let's see here. Yeah, it looks like I'll be able to YouTube live this.
No, that's it. No.
Yep, we're on live. We are streaming live on YouTube right now. Shalom, YouTube. We are continuing our Haftorah reading for today, and let's see who's going to be starting off. Job 32 for us is Sister Sadia. She will be reading Job 32 to 34. I will be having the scriptures on the shared screen for the viewers and listeners on YouTube that will be seeing this. And if anyone else doesn't have it looks like I'll be able to YouTube live this. I don't know.
That's it. No.
Yep, we're on live. We are streaming live on YouTube right now. Shalom. All right, so here we go. All right. So let me just put this on mute because we'll be hearing like basically a background noise from my YouTube live. All right, so here we go, and let me get into the recording to the cloud before I give this away to Sister Sadia. Whenever you're ready, Sister Sadia, Job 32.
Okay, let me see. Okay, here we go. As this Elihu intervenes in the debate. That's what it says in above the chapter. Okay, so these three men ceased answering Job because he was righteous in his own eyes. Then the wrath of Elihu, there we go. Eliyahu, right? Elihu, no. Can you help me with that? Eliyahu, the son of, thank you, Abba, the son of Barachel and Bezite, the family of Ram was arose against Job, Jacob, right? His wrath was aroused because he justified himself rather than Yah. Also, against his three friends, his wrath was aroused because he had found no answer and yet had condemned Job. Now, because they were years older than he, Elihu had waited to speak to Job. Then Elihu saw that there was no answer in the mouth of these three men. His wrath was aroused, and Elihu and sons of Barachel, what is that? Bezite answered and said, I am young in years, and you are very old. Therefore I was afraid and dare not declare my opinion to you. I said, age should speak, and multitude of years should teach wisdom. Wow. But there is a spirit in man, and a breath of Almighty, and the breath of Almighty gives him understanding. Great men are not always wise, nor do the aged always understand justice. Therefore I say, listen to me. I also will declare my opinion. Indeed, I waited for your words. I listened to your reasoning while you searched out what to say. I paid close attention to you, and surely not one of you convinced Job or answered his words. Least you say, we have found wisdom, Yah will vanish him, not man. Now he has not directed his words against me, so I will not answer him with your words. They are dismayed and answer no more. Words escape them, and I have waited because they did not speak, because they stood still and answered no more. I also will answer my part. I too will declare my opinion, for I am full of words. The Ruach within me compels me indeed. My belly is like wine that has no vent. Ooh. It is ready to burst like new wineskin. I will speak that I may find relief. I must open my lips and answer. Let me not, I pray, show partiality to anyone, nor let me flatter any man, for I do not know how to flatter, else my marker would soon take me away. I'm sorry, my maker would soon take me away. But 3. But please, you'll hear my speech and listen to all my words. Now I open my mouth. My tongue speaks in my mouth. My words come from my upright heart. My lips utter pure knowledge. And the Ruach of Yahuwah has made me. The breath of the Almighty gives me life. If you can answer me, set your words in order before me. Take your stand. Truly, I am as your spokesman before Yah. I also have been formed out of clay. Surely no fear of me will terrify you, nor will my hands be heavy on you. Eliyahu quotes Job's complaints. Surely you have spoken in my hearing, and I have heard the sound of your words, saying, I am pure without transgression. I am innocent, and there is no iniquity in me. Yet I find occasions against me. He counts me, accusations against me, and he counts me as his enemy. He puts my feet in the stocks. He watches my path. Look, in this you are not righteous, for I will answer you. I'm sorry. Oh, shoot. Where was I, brother? Puts my feet in stocks and he watches my path. Look, in this you are not righteous, and I will answer you, for Yah is greater than man. Why do you contend with him? For he does not give an account of any of his words. Okay, Tania is trying to get in, brother.
Who?
Brother Tania. She's trying to get in. She's waiting.
Trying to get in?
Talia.
Talia is trying to get in? Okay. All right, so I guess she was on a different phone then. That's why the Nemo.
Oh, maybe that was her. Okay.
All right, tell her I'll let her in. I didn't realize that was her.
Okay. Thank God she didn't get in. Okay, good. Okay, so let me see where we at. Why do you contend with him? For he does not give an accounting of any of his work. For Yah may speak in one way or in another, yet man does not perceive it. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls upon man while slumbering on their beds, then he opens the ears of men and he seals their instructions in order to turn man from his deed and conceal pride from man. He keeps back his souls from the pit and his life from the perishing by the sword. Man is also chastened with pain in his bed, on his bed, and with strong pain in many of his bones, so that his life abhors bread and his soul succulent foods. His flesh wastes away from sight, with his bones stuck out with once were not seen. Yes, his soul draws near to the pit, and his life to the executioners. If there is a messenger for him, a mediator, one among 1,000 to show man his uprightness, then he is gracious to him and says, deliver him from going down to the pit. I have found a ransom. His flesh shall be young like a child's. He shall return to the days of his youth. He shall pray to Yah and will delight, and he will delight in him. He shall see the face of with joy, for he restores to man his righteousness. And he looks at the man and says, I have sinned and perverted what was right. And it did not profit me. He will redeem his soul from going down to the pit, and his life shall see the light. Behold, Yah works all things, twice in fact, 3 times with a man, to bring back his soul from the pit. Hallelujah. That he may be enlightened with the light of man. Give ear, Job, listen to me, hold your peace, and I will speak. If you have anything to say, answer me, speak, for I desire to justify you. If not, listen to me, hold your peace, and I will teach you wisdom. Go to 34 here, read 34, because my tongue is heavy.
Oh,
My tongue got thick. 34, right there.
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys. My tongue's thick.
Eliyahu further answered and said, "Hear my words, you wise men. Give ear to me, you who have knowledge. For the ear tests words as the palate tastes food. Let us choose justice for ourselves. Let us know among ourselves what is good." Eliyahu quotes Job's complaints. For Job has said, "I am righteous,"
Ooh.
but Yahuwah has taken away my justice. Should I lie concerning my right? My wound is incurable, though I am without transgression. What man is like Job, who drinks scorn like water, who goes in company with the workers of iniquity, and walks with wicked men? For he has said, it profits a man nothing that he should delight in Yahuwah. Therefore, listen to me, you men of understanding. Eliyahu answers Job's complaints. Far be it from Yahuwah to do wickedness, and from the Almighty to commit iniquity. For he repays man according to his work, and makes man to find a reward according to his way. Surely Yahuwah will never do wickedly, nor will the Almighty pervert justice. Who gave him charge over the earth, or who appointed him over the whole world? If he shall set his heart on it, if he should gather to himself his spirit and his breath, all flesh will perish together, and man will return to dust. If you have understanding, hear this. Listen to the sounds of my words. Should one who hates justice govern? Will you condemn him who is most just? Is it fitting to say to a king, "You are worthless," and no nobles, "You are wicked"? Yet he is not partial to princes, nor does he regard the rich more than the poor, for they are all the work of his hands. In a moment they die in the middle of the night. You want to read?
Where you at?
The people are shaken and pass away.
What verse?
The mighty are taken away without a hand. 21.
Okay. And I'm going to read out of the Septuagint. For he is a beholder of humanity's work, and nothing of what they do has gone unnoticed by him. Neither is there a place to hide for those who do evil things. For he shall not put upon a man any longer, since Yahuwah watches over all. It is he who understands the unscribable things, glorious and scrupulous things, I think, right? And glorious and also remarkable, which are not numbered. It is he who has made known their words, and shall bring on the night and be humbled. And he extinguishes the ungodly, for they are visible before him. For they turn away from Yah's laws and did not observe his duties, so as to bring upon him the crying of the poor, and he shall listen to the crying of the needy. And when he himself maintains silent, also who shall render judgment? And when he hides his face, also who shall behold him? Whether concerning a people or whether a person, it is one and the same. Verse 30. So he makes a hypocritical person to be a king by reason of the people's discontent. Therefore, one who says to the Almighty, "I have received, I shall not take a pledge from anyone. I shall look beyond myself. You yourself show me if I have done this injury, and I shall not continue. Shall he repay him from you because he was rejected? For you yourself shall choose, and not I. And whatever you know, speak. Therefore, those who are wise in heart shall say these things, and a wise man has heard my speech. And Job did not speak in understanding, his words are not in knowledge. Nevertheless, learn Job, Do not give an answer like fools any longer, so that we do not continue to respect our own sin and lawlessness be counted against us as we speak many words against Yahuwah. I think
it.
that's it. Your turn.
Well, no, he's gonna.
No, your turn.
Well, he's. Are you gonna do a commentary, brother?
Yeah, I just want to bring up some interesting differences I saw here, just writing them down on my notebook here. I'll just go through them quick, and then we'll go to 35 to 38. Let me see here. The most recent one, when Sister Marissa and Sister Sadie were doing a great job reading, by the way. The Masoretic text in verse 24 of that chapter that they just read lacks the Tetragrammaton. I just find that interesting. And I'll show you how I know the Septuagint has it, because if you go to the Apostolic Bible Polyglot here in verse 24, let's see here, it will have Lord in all caps. And the Greek word there is kurios, which is many times a substitution for the Hebrew H3068, the Tetragrammaton. The Masoretic just has he there. I find it interesting that that would be breaking one of the 10 commandments, bringing his name to nothing, or even taking his name out of the verse. So I find that interesting. Let's see here. There's some other stuff too, some correlations here to the New Testament. But let me see here. Verse 17 of that chapter I thought was interesting. It says in the Septuagint, he is the one who hates lawlessness. Found that interesting. Or it'll probably say in your translation, he hates iniquity, but iniquity basically means lawlessness. Behold then the one that hates iniquities, and that destroys the wicked, who is forever righteous. So I thought that was interesting. Let's see. Let's go to verse 9 of this chapter. And I found something interesting here. Okay. For you should not say there shall be no visitation of a man, whereas there is a visitation on him from Yahuwah. The Septuagint says, where the Masoretic puts Elohim or Elohim. So I thought that was interesting. Again, Yahuwah's name being substituted there for the title Elohim. And you'll see that a lot in the Masoretic version of Job. That will happen a lot. And also the Masoretic version of Daniel happens a lot. So I thought I just wanted to make a note of that. And I know you're probably saying, well, it's lowercase, Doug. Well, it depends on the translator. Because if I go to the ABP Plus here, it's going to show all caps Lord for kurios there. So just saying, it depends on what the translator does, whether he lets you know that should be Yahuwah there. So anyway. Okay, so verse 5, we're going to go to verse 5 of this chapter. Okay, and I think this is the last one for chapter 34. Let's see here. Okay, so again, you have Yahuwah, the all caps Lord here, indicating Yahuwah should be there. And then in the Masoretic, El, or Al. So again, the Masoretes are substituting Yahuwah's name for a title of Elohim or Elohim.
Brother Doug.
Yeah.
Didn't Hagar call her god El when she said that El?
Well, she didn't call his name Al or El. She said, "You are the El that sees." So she's using it as a title correctly there. She's using it meaning he is the deity, the mighty one who sees. So she's not calling him by name Elohim. So and this is a historical fact. What happened was, after the timeline of Daniel, the captivity of Daniel, the Judeans, the Yahudim, they started making up this tradition of replacing the Tetragrammaton with Elohim and making Elohim like a name to call Yahuwah by rather than his actual name. And their reasoning behind it, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, and I can give the link to this, was at that point in time they looked at Yahuwah like their God is sovereign over every other god of the earth, so they thought that gave them the right to substitute his name for a title. Problem is that in Exodus 20 it says, "Do not take my name in vain. Do not bring it to nothing." If you take his name and you don't call him Yahuwah anymore, you just call him Elohim, which just means mighty one, you are bringing his name to nothing. So their little tradition of the elders there actually went against the Ten Commandments. And they, in modern day today, they even carried on that tradition, calling him either Elohim. Most Jews today will either call him Elohim as a name, or they'll say Hashem. They'll never say the name. They'll not even a very, I've came across very few Jewish people that even use any version of the Tetragrammaton, whether Yahweh, Jehovah. Very few of them will ever even use any version of the Tetragrammaton, and it has to do with the Talmud telling them, oh, it's too sacred to be uttered. And the Masoretes believe that. That's why they started substituting the Tetragrammaton for El or Elohim.
Right, because Doug, because here in Bereshit 16:13 it says, and she called the name of Yahuwah who spoke to her, you are the El who sees, for she said. So they're saying that she called the name of Yahuwah El.
Yeah, because they took his.
No, what she's saying is she called him Yahuwah, and she said he is the mighty one who sees. It's a title there. That's the difference between using El or Elohim as a name versus a title. In scripture, we see like proof that Elohim is a title that people will use to refer to Yahuwah as the mighty one or the Elohim, but never does he say, this is my name. He never says, call me Elohim. He never says, even in Exodus 3:14, which we're pretty familiar with, I am that I am. If you go to the next verse, he says, I am Yahuwah. This is my name forever. Meaning, you don't call me anything else. You don't call me Adonai. You don't call me this. You don't call me that. He gave one name. So, but and if you look with Hagar, she's really just saying that he is the mighty one that sees. She's not,
Right.
so I think a lot of people take that out of context, that verse. And that there's, and a lot of the times we'll see this even in older versions of the Torah. In Genesis, Yahuwah's name is indicated more in certain versions of the Torah, like the Targums show that his name should be there a lot more, even in the book of Genesis. So there's been a lot of monkeying around going on with trying to hide his name and all that. So I just wanted to mention that the Masoretic text does that a lot. They'll substitute the H3068, which is the YHWH, with Eloah, Elohim, a lot, especially in Job and Daniel. Those
So
two
Doug,
books.
so I was doing some research on the name El, and it says father of humanity, Ashira's wife.
Yeah, because El, the problem is that prefix of Elohim or Elohim was taken later by the Canaanites. And they actually started calling on their god, the husband to Asherah, aka Nimrod, El, like Saturn. Saturn became known as El. And so the problem, that's another reason too I don't call Yahuwah by name, this title Elohim, is because later on they started taking that for themselves, these Gentiles, and they started using that title as a name for their gods. And you can look this up for yourself on Wikipedia, Encyclopedia Britannica. I mean, this is like open to the public, this knowledge that Saturn, Baal, whatever you want to call him, he became known to the Canaanites as El, the prefix El. So that's why I think there was some monkeying going around with the Masoretes, and who knows? They according to Jeremiah 23:27, their fathers forgot you, who is named for Baal. So, I mean, who's to say, there wasn't some Baal worship going on with the Mazarites, and that's why they're substituting Yahuwah for Elohim. Who knows? I mean, it's speculatory at this point, but it's very weird to me that the Septuagint, many of the times in the book of Job and Daniel, has kurios instead of theos. And theos is the Greek for Elohim. So if Elohim or Elohim is supposed to be there in that verse, the Septuagint would have had theos there instead of kurios. So kurios is the Greek for the all caps Lord, just to explain. So the all caps Lord, obviously, if you look at the preface of your Bibles, all caps Lord indicates that the Tetragrammaton is supposed to be there. So that's the reason I brought that up. Okay, so according to the Septuagint, Yahuwah is supposed to be there in that verse that I just brought up. So let's see here. Verse 14. Again, this is another instance where the Septuagint indicates that Yahuwah is supposed to be there. And the prefix El is there in verse 14 of chapter 33. So many times this is happening. This is not just like a little mistake by the Mazarites. This is like happening almost every other time. Okay. So anyway, so moving on here. So chapter 33, verse 12. We are going to be going here because I find it interesting here in 33, verse 12. And the Septuagint says he is eternal. For how do you say I am righteous, yet he has not hearkened to me? For he that is above mortals is eternal. Okay, so then we got verse 4 here, which I find interesting. The wording here, it says the divine spirit, meaning the set apart spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, is the one that formed me. Now this makes complete sense when we look at John 4:24, because it says in John 4:24 that Yahuwah is that spirit. Okay, so this completely debunks the Trinity here. Okay, now I'm reading from the Peshitta here, the Aramaic Bible in plain English. Okay, for the Spirit is Elohim, and it is fitting that those who worship him worship in the Spirit and the truth. So basically it's saying Yahuwah is the set apart spirit. They're not separate entities. Okay. Christianity has this whole idea that it's a separate person. It's not a separate person. Yahuwah is that spirit. Okay. So we're going to go to, let's see, Job 32 verse 8 here had something interesting. Okay, 32:8. All right, 32:8. Let's see here. But there is a spirit in mortals, and the inspiration of the Almighty. That should be us that know the New Testament. That should be like, it should be a light bulb should be going on there. The inspiration of the Almighty is that which teaches. That reminds me of a verse from 2 Timothy. Okay, chapter 3, verse 16. And it's very possible Paul could have been quoting from the Septuagint in this verse, or at least pulling from it this idea. All scripture is given by inspiration, same word there, of Yahuwah, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction, teaching in righteousness. So to me, that sounds very similar to the Septuagint of Job 32, verse 8, which says the inspiration of the Almighty teaches me. So just thought I would bring that up. Okay, let's see here. Now we're going to go to verse. I just got two more cross references, and we're going to go to chapters 35 to 38. Okay, so I got two more cross references here. Job 32:2. Now this is where it gets really weird with the differences here. It says here, then was kindled the wrath of Elihu, son of Barachiel Buzite of the kindred of Ram, against Job. Hold on, let me change the translation here. Then Elius, the son of Barachiel the Buzite of the kindred of Ram, of the country of Uzis, was angered, and he was very angry with Job because he justified himself before Yahuwah. Now, if you've got the Masoretic Bible, it will say he justified himself rather than Elohim, which would make Job look wicked. So I find it interesting the Masoretes are trying to make Job look wicked when the Septuagint is showing that Elihu is just mad that Job would even think himself to be righteous before the Father, like coming before the Father and being righteous. So I find it interesting. There's a huge difference in verse 2, chapter 32. Rather than Yahuwah versus before him. I mean, those two words are definitely different. Definitely different connotations. So verse 1 is another difference, because in the Septuagint it says, for Job was righteous before them. In the Masoretic it says he was righteous in his own eyes, meaning he was really sinful, but he thought he was righteous in his own eyes. So I find it interesting. There seems to be a recurring theme in the Masoretic text version of Job where they're trying to make out Job to be the bad guy, or constantly trying to make him out to be wicked. So I find that pretty interesting. But anyway, so I'm going to let Sister Marissa, who's been very patient, continue our Job portion here, chapters 35 to 38.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready for me to read.
I'm ready.
Okay. And so I'm reading out of the Hallelujah scriptures. And Elihu responded and said, do you think this is right? Do you say my righteousness is more than that of El? For you say, of what use is it to you? What do I gain more than if I had sinned? Let me answer you and your friends with you. Look at the Shamayim and see, and consider the clouds which are higher than you. If you sin, what would you do against him? If your transgressions are increased, what would you do to him? If you are righteous, what do you give him? Or what does he receive from your hand? Your wickedness is for a man like yourself, and your righteousness for a son of man. Because of the multitude of oppressions, they cry out. They cry out for help because of the arm of the many. And no one says, where is Eloah, my maker, who gives songs in the night, teaching us more than the beasts of the earth, and makes us wiser than the birds of the Shamayim? There they cry, but he answers not, because of the pride of evil ones. Only it is false that El does not hear, and that El Shaddai pays no attention to it. Although you say you do not see him, yet right ruling is before him, and you wait for him. And now, is it for naught that his displeasure has come? Yet he has not taken note of extreme arrogance. So Eob opens his mouth in vain. He increases words without knowledge. Then Elihu continued and said, bear with me a little, and let me show you there is still more to say for Eloah. I bring my knowledge from afar and ascribe righteousness to my maker. For truly my words are not false. The 1% in knowledge is with you. See, El is mighty, but rejects no one, mighty in strength of heart. He does not keep the wicked alive, but gives right ruling to the oppressed ones. He does not withdraw his eyes from the righteous and sovereigns on the throne, and seats them forever, and they are exalted. And if they are bound in shackles, caught in the cords of affliction, then he reveals to them their work and their transgressions, that they behave proudly. And he opens their ear for discipline and commands that they turn back from wickedness. If they obey and serve, they complete their days in goodness and their years in pleasantness. But if they do not obey, they perish by the sword and die without knowledge. But the defiled ones in heart become enraged. Let them not cry for help when he binds them. Their beings dies in youth, and their life among the male prostitutes. He rescues the afflicted one in his affliction and opens their ears in oppression. And he also would have brought you out of distress into a broad place where there is no restraint. And what is put on your table will be filled with rich food. But you are filled with the judgment of the wicked. Judgment and right ruling take hold of you, because wrath would entice you to scoffing. And do not let a large bribe turn you aside. Would he value your riches? No, not precious one, nor all your strength. Do not long for the night when people go in their place. Beware, do not turn your wickedness, for you have chosen this rather than affliction. See, El is exactly by his power. Who is a teacher like him? Who has appointed him his way, or who has said, you have worked on righteousness? Remember to exalt his work of which men have sung. All men have seen it. Man looks on it from afar. See, El is great, beyond our understanding, and we do not know the number of his years. For he draws up drops of water, which distill as rain from the mist, which the clouds pour down in showers on man. Also, who understands the spreading of clouds, the crashing from his booth? See, he has spread his light upon it, and he has covered the depths of the sea. For by these he judges the peoples, he gives plenty of food. He has covered his hands with lightning and commands it to strike. Its noise declares concerning him also the cattle as to what is coming up. All this too my heart trembles and leaps from its place. Listen, listen to the trembling of his voice and the sound that comes from his mouth. He lets it loose under all the Shamayim and his lightning to the ends of the earth. After it a voice roars. After it a voice roars. He thunders with the voice of his excellency, and he does not hold them back when his voice is heard. He thunders wondrously with his voice, doing great deeds which we do not understand. For he says to the snow, be on the earth, also to the gentle rain and the heavy rain of his strength. He seals up the hand of every man for all men to know his work. Then the beast goes into its lair, and they stay in their dens. From the room of the south comes the whirlwind, and cold from the scattering winds of the earth. By the breath of El, ice is given, and the expanse of water becomes solid. He also loads the thick clouds with moisture. He also loads the thick clouds with moisture. He scatters his bright clouds. And they swirl about, being turned by his guidance, to do whatever he commands them on the face of the earthly world. He causes it to come, whether as a rod, or for land, or for kindness. Listen to this, O Eob. Stand still and consider the wonders of El. Do you know when Eloah placed them and caused the lightning of his clouds to shine? Do you know the balancing of the clouds? The wonders of the one perfect in knowledge? Why are your garments hot when the earth is stilled from the south? Did you with him spread out the clouds strong as a hard mirror? Teach us what we should say to him. We do not put in order because of darkness. Should he be told that I would speak? Would any man ask to be swallowed up? And now they shall not look on the light that is brought behind the clouds, when the wind has passed and cleared them. From the golden north it comes with Eloah, his awesome excellency. The Almighty, we have not found him out. He is exalted in power and right ruling, and great in righteousness. He does not oppress. Therefore, men revere him. He does not regard any who are wise of heart. Do I go on?
36, babe, I think.
To 38, right?
Yeah, 38, yeah.
Okay. Then Yahuwah answered Eob out of the whirlwind and said, Who is this who darkness counseled by words without knowledge? Now gird up your loins like a man, and I ask you, and you answer me. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare, if you have understanding. Who appointed its measures, if you know? Or who stretched the line upon it? Upon what were its foundations sunk? Or who laid its cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of Elohim shouted for joy? Or enclosed the sea with doors when it burst forth and came from the womb? When I made the cloud its garment, and thick darkness its swaddling band, and assigned for it my law, and put bars and doors, and said, This far you have come, but not farther, and here your proud waves stop? Have you ever commanded the morning and caused the dawn to know its place, to take hold of the ends of the earth, and the wicked be shaken out of it? Is it changed like clay under a seal, and they stand out like a garment, and their light is withheld from the wicked, and the arm lifted up broken? Have you come to the sources of the sea, or have you walked about in the recesses of the deep? Were the gates of death revealed to you, or have you seen the gates of the shadow of death? Have you understood the breadth of the earth? Declare, if you know it all. Where is the way of the dwelling of light and darkness? Where is its place, that you should take it to its boundary and know the paths to its home? Do you know? For you would have been born then, and the number of your days been many. Have you entered into the storehouses of snow, or have you seen the storehouses of hail, which I have kept for the time of distress, for the day of fighting and battle? Where is the way that light is divided, or the east wind scattered over the earth? Who has cleft a channel for the overflowing water, or a way for the thunderclaps, to make rain fall on land where no one is, a wilderness in which there is no man, to satisfy the wild and waste places, and to make the seeds of grass to sprout? Does the rain have a father? Or who has brought forth the drops of dew? For whose womb comes the ice? And who gave birth to the frost of the Shamayim? The waters harden like snow, and the surface of the deep is frozen. Do you bind the bands of Kima, or loosen the cords of Kesil? Do you bring out the constellations in the season? Or do you lead the bear with its sons? Do you know the laws of the Shamayim? Or do you apply their rule over the earth? Do you lift up your voice to the clouds so that floods of water cover you? Do you send out lightnings and they go and say to you, Here we are? Who has put wisdom in the inward parts? Or who has given understanding to the heart? Who has wisdom to count the clouds, or to tip over the pitchers of the Shamayim, when the dust hardens in clumps and the clouds cling together? Do you hunt the prey for the lion, or satisfy the appetite of the young lions when they crouch in dens, sit in the cover of their hiding place? Who provides food for the raven when its young ones cry to El, wander about without food? Brother Doug.
Yep.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. All right. Great job, sis. Let me see here. One of the I think one of the biggest things that jump out at me is this last chapter here in verse 7. The Hebrew will say, B'nai Elohim, if you look at the Greek, it's a little bit more clearer what the B'nai Elohim are. It says, when the stars were made, meaning when the stars were created, all my angels praised me with a loud voice. So we can safely say the B'nai Elohim in Genesis 6, in Job 1:6, in Job 2:1, according to the Septuagint, are angels. And many times you'll see the phrase B'nai Elohim in the Greek of the Septuagint. It will be angelos, angels. So the authors of the Septuagint obviously know what B'nai Elohim are. Okay. Let's see here. So going backward here, one of my favorite verses from Job 37:18. And let's just see here. All right. Job 37:18. And actually, I want to go to a specific translation that I really like of this verse, which is actually, believe it or not, a Catholic Bible. I'm going to go to Job 37:18. Yeah, the New American Bible Revised Edition. And this is a standard Catholic Bible. Okay, it says here, can you with him spread out the firmament of the skies, hard as a molten mirror? So if we take this verse literally, the firmament is not expanse, it's not outer space. It is literally a hard, molten, beaten out structure. That is what the firmament is. It's like a dome. It's a hard glass dome. Okay, and according to their footnotes here, they even admit the ancients, meaning all ancient cultures, not just the Hebrews, the firmament mirror. The ancients thought of the sky as a ceiling above which were the upper waters. Genesis 1:6-7, Genesis 7 verse 11. When this ceiling became as hard as metal, the usual rain failed to fall on the earth. And they give you even more cross references here. Leviticus 26:19, Deuteronomy 28:23. So obviously, even the Catholic Bible translator admits that the firmament is not a outer space or expanse, like it's sometimes translated in other Bibles. How rakia sometimes is translated as expanse instead of firmament. And the reason they put firmament here, by the way, even though this word is not rakia, it's a word that by extension can mean rakia. So I'll show you what I mean here. So let's go to the Masoretic here of verse 18 and go into the Hebrew here. The word for sky is H7834, shakak. Dust, cloud, fine dust, cloud. Okay, if you go to the Strong's here, it says a powder as beaten small, by analogy a thin vapor, by extension the firmament. So basically, Yahuwah is saying, he's saying to Job, were you there when I beat out the firmament like a molten looking glass? That's really what Yahuwah is saying there. Okay, so if we go to verse 14 of this same chapter, let's see here. So, hearken. Let's see here. Hearken to this, O Job, stand still and be admonished of the power of Yahuwah. So the reason I made mention of this in my notes here is because, again, we have the difference of the Septuagint indicating Yahuwah is supposed to be there, Masoretic having El. So I thought that was interesting. And there's a couple in this chapter. There's just one in chapter 37, but there's going to be a couple in 35 and 36. So let's jump to now my notes for 36 verse 5. Okay. but know that Yahuwah will not cast off an innocent man. And Masoretic is like really different in the wording here. Before behold, El is mighty and despise not any. Very weird. I like how the English translation here for the Septuagint is a little bit more clear. He will not cast off any innocent man. So again, the difference between El and Yahuwah there again. All right. So that's Job 36:5. Now we're going to go to Job 35:13. All right. Let's see here. For Yahuwah desires not to look on error, meaning, to try to explain what error would mean. Error would mean false assumptions, sinning by being an error of doctrine. So by it saying, for Yahuwah desires not to look on error, for he is the Almighty One. I like how it says that. The Almighty One. Okay. And then, of course, Masoretic says, surely El will not hear vanity. So that's so much different. The Masoretic makes it so generalized. That's very weird to me. So let's see here. Let's go to verse 2 here, which says, what is this that you think to be according to righteousness? I think what it's trying to say here, what is this that you think you're righteous? Who are you that you have said, I am righteous before Yahuwah? And notice how the Masoretic changes righteous before Yahuwah to more righteous than El. So again, they're trying to paint Job as this like super wicked sinner, which is not what the book of Job really is saying. So the Masoretes really, I guess they got a vendetta against him or something. I don't know. It's very strange. They're like that's a huge difference, more than and before. I mean, before just means you think you're righteous before him and in his presence. The other version is trying to make it look like Job thinks he's greater than Yahuwah, or that he's righteous and Yahuwah's wicked. So that's a huge difference in my opinion. That's a huge difference there. Anyway, moving on. So I think we're going to end this recording for Job, and we're going to have to end this recording for Job because the Jeremiah one is going to be a long one. So, all right. So we'll be back, everyone. We're going to do next the Jeremiah portion, and then we will be finishing off with Matthew. So please stay tuned, everyone. We'll be back very, very shortly. Thank you for joining us so far. Thank you, everyone on YouTube, for joining us.